Oh my fucking god.
Was it off?
What's up, everybody? This is Akashic Recordings. Akashic Skies here, welcoming the lovely Myra. Round of applause, everybody. We just came back from an amazing yoga flow. I believe was it your first of that scale, or you've ran something like that before?
Actually, yeah. So I think the largest class was actually really amazing. It was during a wedding at the resort that I taught at, and there was like 30 some people. And because it was the day of like the vow renewal, they were all wearing white. So when I went down, I like had to go up and get extra yoga mats for everybody, and it was just like it was like an outdoor like barn with no walls, and it was just like 30 like monks wearing white.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Cool. So yeah, basically what happened was we were at yoga and the instructor didn't show up, and Myra took the stand and we went to the park and had an amazing time. I think that was my first time doing a yoga flow outside in a long time, so it's really nice. What's another thing that we can talk about? What got you into tarot?
Tarot. Okay, so yeah, pretty much when I like turned 18, you know, and like you're supposed to be an adult and like figure your shit out. I just was really confused, and my mind was like tied emotionally to a lot of like different people and like past events that had happened, and it was kind of preventing me from moving forward in like my own dharma. Mm-hmm. It just felt like I was still karmically tied to too much, and there was like this fog. So probably I was 18 when I found my first tarot deck, living in Eugene, Oregon. The one that I found at the Goodwill.
Yeah.
I just like was in the game aisle and saw this random box, and I was like, whoa, what is that? And I pulled it out, and it was a tarot deck. I was like, okay, that's cool. So I started playing with it. And that's like, yeah, that's kind of how I started. And I was just like looking up stuff online on like Biddy Tarot. And I used that deck for a while. It led me to some pretty cool places and experiences. And then, yeah, I just kind of continued with that practice. I ended up getting like a new deck probably a year later that was new instead of used. And I just, you know, continued reading about it and learning about it and using it to help guide my decisions.
What kind of deck was the first one that you got?
It was pretty artistic. I don't remember the name of it, but it was like kind of like a slightly darker, artistic take on it. It was very non-traditional. Yeah, I don't remember the name of it though.
Interesting. How about our full moon experience? What's your take on that, or what's like reflecting back on that? What are some feelings that surface?
Yeah, yeah, that one was interesting. So pretty much what happened, we had all gone out camping for the full moon. It was supposed to be a full moon in Scorpio, but I oftentimes personally will like feel the moons a couple of days behind, which is like the Vedic timing of it. So we had all gone out expecting like some transformative, like deep, profound experiences like that. And I ended up feeling it more like a Libra moon, which is, again, what it would have been in Vedic astrology. And I just realized sort of the importance of incorporating joy into our lives. There was, you know, that moment where we had walked up to where there was like a water, there was like a little mini pond, and I was like, well, where does the water come from? We couldn't find the source. And that's when, you know, we like rolled down the hill, and I was like giggling and like kind of ran off. And I just realized, you know, like after, you know, immediately rolling down a hill and giggling my ass off, that water comes from pure joy. And we're mostly water. We come from pure joy, and remembering to embody that. So many of us forget that. Like we get wrapped up in like the daily stuff, and you know, if you're a spiritual person, you know, getting wrapped up in our spiritual practices, that we forget to incorporate that joy.
Yeah, and that's where sometimes even when I am incorporating joy or humor in spiritual practice, sometimes I do feel like I'm maybe not taken seriously. I'm playing the archetype of the jokester. When in reality, it's like my spiritual practice was my freedom from kind of the matrix, if you will, or the 9 to 5 that I was pretty consistently in for a few years now. And that's the fact that I was doing it for like 4 years straight, 5 years straight out of graduation from college. I think I had a lot of pent up energy, and that experience was just a huge release and huge surrender. And that's where just after that, a lot of my child like side came back out, and just learning how to live alongside it now after it's made its appearance. It's been an amazing experience to share with you guys and stuff like that. So that's awesome.
Agreed. Yeah.
Next thing, how has yoga impacted your life, and like how long have you been doing it? And at what point did you notice like a change or a difference?
Yeah.
Like a profound difference.
Oh my gosh, almost immediately. So I started doing yoga April 1st of 2018, and we're in like
2020. June.
Yeah.
Almost July actually. It's June 30th.
Yeah. Okay, so it's been like 2 years, 2.5 years.
Cool.
2 years. I started doing it as like a 30-day like thing on Amazon Prime. Highly recommend. It's like 30-day challenge to a new you with Jess.
Okay.
It was really good. She sort of built it up like starting from the basics and like alignment flow and slowly getting into more complex poses. And I think I completed it probably in like 34 days or something like that, because there were a few days where I was just feeling tight and needed to go back and do some restorative work. I almost immediately felt the profound feelings. It was sort of the same thing with like the tarot, where like, you know, I had been in this relationship for a while and I was just feeling really lost and jaded and like feeling like I wasn't synchronized with like my life. So I started doing yoga hoping that it would pull me out of my mind a little bit. And I always had like sort of like a weird like body image, like warped body image of myself, and just some like different like eating habits that I really wanted to help heal. And a lot of pain too, like physical pain from past injuries.
Yeah.
So the yoga was sort of like, I was really looking to heal on like all those levels. And yeah, so within like a few days of doing it, I've never been a morning person, but within a few days, I went from like waking up at like 10:30 to like, I would have an alarm set for like 6 o'clock so I could get to work by 8. And I would be waking up at 5:30 like, all right, time to do yoga. Like, let's get on the mat. Super excited. So yeah, and it definitely like, I will say it like opened up a lot of memories and karma that then I spent, you know, probably like my first year or so sorting through, because as like my vibration was being heightened from yoga, there was still that karmic baggage there. So it was also putting like a magnifying glass on that.
Exactly.
Yeah, and like it kind of exploded. It was a beautiful experience though, and like I will say the pain, I ended up getting like sciatica for a while because I had like overdone a stretch on like,
like down your leg, like lower back pain that shoots down your leg.
Yeah, like right down, like through, it went through like my hip flexor, connective tissue, whatever, with the pelvis, and then like all the way down the back of the leg, and yeah, so it was like, it was really interesting. It definitely spurred one of the most, you know, we were just talking about on our way here, like multiple spiritual awakenings, and we'll always have that like rise and fall. So that was probably, I will say, one of the most profound spiritual rises I've had was when I started doing yoga.
That's awesome. I can remember my first time, a long time ago, trying yoga. I've always wanted to incorporate this into my life, but you know, La Crosse, or this town, like 8 years ago, it was a whole different place. Like just from the way I dress, there's a lot of people from the country like, oh, you're weird or you're different. And I went to the yoga place, the hot yoga place, and it was me and my friend and a couple of girls, and he was probably just doing it to be cool, and I was like trying to go to actually learn something. And one of my friends, Brooke, she's like in like India, just being a nomad traveling now. It's crazy to see our trajectory. But yeah, it took me so long to make it a daily practice. It almost took this time of relaxation that we got to step back from our job in order to really take it seriously, because I had so many distractions. I had split energy, so my energy was spread out in so many different facets. When I was partying, that definitely zapped all my energy, being social and realizing I'm an introvert. And like you said, when you're having spiritual awakenings, it brings out the magnifying glass. As our friend Hannah mentioned, it's like you unpack a lot of things. It's like a baggage that was just filled so tight, about to explode. And like to figure out what's inside, it's just like once the like seam rips, everything explodes out, and then there's still more left inside, like all the valuables. Like then you got to search around for where it all exploded to. So
and what actually matters too.
And what matters, because then it's going to be a bunch of like wadded up like newspapers and stuff that you just crammed in there because you don't have time to analyze it as you're going through this fast-paced lifestyle. As you're just like going headfirst into wherever your like monkey mind takes you, all these fun, cool, pretty lights and these pretty friends that have, cool things drawing you towards them. That's definitely where I got lost. And I always felt it. I'm like, I'm missing something. And I searched things, but then actually incorporating it every day is like where you start to really feel the paradigm shifts. So that's really cool. Due to time, we're going to go volunteer and help serve the people and pack the food up. It's going to wrap it up here. Do you have anything else to say?
I mean, I guess just to tack on to what you just said about feeling like maybe there was something missing. I definitely felt that for almost my whole life too, and I will say the only way that I found that can fill that is connecting to spirit, whatever that means to you. And we were talking about on our drive here too, the times that we forget to do our yoga, or we just don't have the time for it, or we don't take like the 5 or 10 minutes to even come to our breath and meditate, or to be still in nature. That's like self-care. That kind of self-care is necessary. And like I said, we sometimes get so busy, and fast moving that we forget how important that is. And so, that's, I guess, tying together the tarot and the yoga and all of it means nothing if you're not connecting to spirit with it.
It's a lifestyle. And a lot of people say they don't have enough time. Make time, people. And don't feel bad if you don't make the time. So because that's just perpetuating the cycle. But just make the time, try your best, and that's what it's all about, is trying your best and opening your heart to other beautiful experiences and beautiful souls. So thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it.
Likewise. You're a good one.
Health, happiness, and abundance. Peace.